Okay, in this really, really quick video, I'm going to cover why sales funnels have changed and specifically how they've changed and also how to react to this change. Because if you haven't noticed, a lot of the people that are deploying what I would call a virgin funnel over here with either one acquisition channel, whether it be content, SEO, cold email, even if it's paid ads sometimes, whoever's relying on a singular channel is basically getting pretty well ruined. I also call this the fair weather funnel, which basically means that it only works when conditions are really, really good. So when it's a bull run, everything's spent, everyone's buying, 5, 10K a month retainers without even thinking about it. And everyone's buying agency service, everyone's buying, the crypto, everyone's buying Dogecoin, etc. That is when this funnel works, which is, basically the hoping approach. This is AKA relying solely on referrals. And that doesn't necessarily mean that relying on referrals is a bad thing, but there is one key sort of negative to relying on referrals, and that is that you are basically deploying the hoping approach, and it's kind of the same as content. You're kind of relying on the algorithm to pump you up, but if you did leverage something like Twitter, a lot of the time something can change. You get slapped with an algorithm change, Elon buys the platform, all of a sudden you have 30, 40, 50,000 followers or more, maybe even less, and all of a sudden your lead flow completely dries up, and all of a sudden you're completely screwed. And it's kind of the same with SEO as well as cold email. Cold email, your domains get burned. All of a sudden you're at the mercy of Google and Outlook, et cetera, et cetera. And that's why I call it the fair weather funnel, because it kind of ends up like this. And then when you compare that to something like this over here, which is basically the Chad funnel, just let me make sure that's fully screened, you can see how it is basically not comparable and how the person deploying this funnel would have a distinct advantage. And to show that exact distinct advantage, what I wanted to do was kind of show you these two different spider webs, because what you have here is spider 1 versus spider 2 here. So spider 1 has a decent sized sales spider web, sorry. What you can see here is it's a respectable spider web. He's got his one little client there. He's getting his leads. They're kind of in the area. They might accidentally come in here and then they might buy, et cetera, et cetera. They might get stuck and then all of a sudden he can eat that week. But what you can see is what happens if this guy goes over here, what happens if this guy goes over here, and what happens if this guy goes over here. That is essentially what you are doing with your prospects when you rely on a singular channel, because essentially what's happening, and I can actually get pretty athletic here with these caterpillars, is that we trotting along and they'll kind of just be fading away. They'll kind of be fading away. This guy's going around here. All of a sudden he kind of, I'm going to stray over here. Oh, there's my friend over there. And then bang, they get caught up in this guy's funnel. And you're kind of like, oh, wow, how did that happen? And what I would equate that to is the exact same thing as a customer in 2024, because customers now, they're not really trusting the same way that they used to. They're not really buying the exact same way that they used to. And what you see these days is people do something, what they used to do was they would get, they'd see a piece of content or they'd see a piece of SEO, they'd see a cold email and then sort of just get the cold email and they would kind of just go to the recurring service. This was very common 2021 maybe, when it was kind of a bit of a bull run at the peak. But then all of a sudden things kind of squeezed up a bit. The economy was a little bit different and people started buying things differently. People started preferring price options rather than value options. And basically what you see these days is not only is there a lot of content available, there is a lot of people running paid ads, and they're not bad paid ads either. They're really, really good paid ads. And there's people running really good outreach because people have really figured out how to do outreach, and people are running really great content. If you click on YouTube, you see guys like Alex Hormozy, you see, all this great content that's getting made by people. So it's really competitive, and it's really hard to get someone to just go, it's really difficult to get them to go, oh, paid ad, all the way down here into our recurring service. That's a lot of different jumps. And actually what I'll do is I'll pull up another diagram that I had, which was over here. What's happening these days is people kind of have this cold email, and what they used to be able to do was just go, hey, cold email, let's go over here and just book a call. In previous times, that was the second step. But these days, if you try and do that, you see this guy, he's not really, he's not looking he's looking kind of thin, little stick figure. If he tries to make this jump, he's falling in the river. And this might sound like pretty abstract waffle, but what you can see basically is that these days, people are much more likely to go, oh, hey, I just saw this guy's YouTube video. Oh, he's got a lead magnet in the description. Oh, cool, he's sending me emails. Oh, no, I actually kind of want to go see another lead magnet. Oh, I see him on TikTok. Oh, there he is on LinkedIn. Back over here. Oh, there's a lead magnet. Oh, he just promoted a webinar in the thank you page. Oh, cool. I just consumed his newsletter for 6 months. Oh, cool. He promoted a product. Cool. I'm going to go there. Oh, I'm in the community. I'm a really active community member for 6 months. Oh, bang. There's his appointment setter. Just reach out to me. Watch some more content. And then they'll go through and check out the website. And then they'll go through and say, oh, he's actually got some pretty good testimonials. Oh, nice. I might actually book a call and see what he's got. Let's go attend this sales call. And then there might be a better fit for a program. So you can see, if you didn't have all of this stuff, that is the exact equivalent of this guy over here, just kind of trotting along and going around everywhere, and then getting caught in this guy's funnel because he's got all of this stuff available. So if you don't have any of this stuff, you're at an inherent disadvantage compared to someone who does. And the thing is, because people are so smart and competitors are so good, there are people out there making really good content and making really good paid ads and doing really good outreach. And they have 10 lead magnets. And they have a really good webinar, and they have a really good live workshop, and they might have a newsletter, and they have a community, and they have a team full of appointment setters. And they have really great content like before, because as you can see, content kind of acts as not only a piece of the top of funnel, but it also acts as a nurturing mechanism, which you've got kind of towards the middle of funnel. MOF stands for middle of funnel. So you can see that there's a pretty inherent difference. I'm hoping this is getting across. I'm not sure if this is clear because I'm kind of just waffling about different examples. But the way that you deal with this is by taking a little bit of a different approach. So what people used to do, kind of like what I was explaining back over here with the guy walking along the steps, what people used to do was kind of go like that, right? So they would go, okay, I'm just going to go pitch directly. And that was fine because not only were people more aware back then, and when I say more aware, I mean they were more trusting and more willing to buy. And there were more people in the most aware stage than are unaware. And I can probably explain that in another video. Because that was the case, you would kind of get away a little bit more of going attention and then close them quite quicker. Sales cycles were a little bit quicker back a few years ago. Now, what it's requiring you to do to get the total or a higher number of customers because it's so competitive is you need to go and take it a little bit slower. So when you're trying to get someone's attention, i.e. a cold lead, it's less about, hey, do you want to buy my stuff? And it's more about, hey, can I give you something valuable? And then you have a conversation and you might get some intent from them. And then you might try and progress them towards a close, and then you might be able to close them. And the problem with this is that this takes potentially months. If you think about the last time that you bought anything from someone, I'm assuming if you watch this video, you've probably bought some type of online program or some type of coaching thing or some type of agency service before. If you think about the last time you bought, most of the time it will be from someone that you were in their funnel for months. It's pretty rare for you to receive a cold email and then just go bang and then buy. Pretty rare. Sometimes that happens and it works really well for people. Most of the time that's when someone has a really, really good offer, and we'll cover that in another video. But what I wanted to cover in this specific video was just what you need to do is change your approach a little bit from this towards this. And I think the easiest example here is DMing a girl, because I think most people would be aware of that. When you're DMing a girl, it's not, hey, let's get married. That's the equivalent of saying, hey, let's get on a sales call, or hey, let's buy my stuff. What you need to do is DM the girl and say some type of conversation. Where are you from? What do you like doing? What college do you go to? Et cetera, depending on your age. Then what you might do is after a little bit of conversation, you might go ahead and say, hey, do you want to go on a first date? Can I take you on a, you can use a lead magnet, or you can use some bait. Hey, I got some tickets to the Laker game on the weekend. Do you want to come? That's a fun idea for a first date. It's a good lead magnet. It's a good little bit of bait. So then all of a sudden you're getting a little bit of interest. You're getting a little bit of intent because, that kind of signals intent. Hey, this is good bait for me. Then it takes 300 more dates and then you get married. So these days, it's kind of like when people are spending their money, they're a little bit more conscious of it. So it is a little bit more like getting married compared to back in the day. If you kind of go full circle and I tie a bow on it, compared to back in the day, when I say back in the day, I mean a few years ago, compared to a few years ago when people would kind of say, oh, buying something for 5 to 10K, that's easy. That's not even a commitment. It's not a big deal. I'll go and do that after the first date. But now, because that investment is a little bit more, it's a little bit tighter. People are just generally a bit less willing to spend a lot on different stuff. So because that 5 to 10K is a little bit bigger of a commitment, it is now required that you do this 300 dates. And then all of a sudden, if you kind of combine the date analogy here, and then you also have the spiderweb analogy, it becomes really attractive to build this massive spiderweb, because what happens is when these caterpillars are walking through the ether, they're consuming content, they're consuming lead magnets, they're reading stuff on the internet. It's kind of a question of who has a better chance of catching this spider web in their funnel, or catching this little caterpillar in their funnel, out of this guy right here, spider number one, who is just sending a bunch of cold emails and hoping that he gets clients, or running SEO and hoping that he gets clients, or making content and hoping he gets clients, or just doing the hoping approach and hoping he gets clients. Who's going to be better off, spider number one or spider number two, who has this massive back end that can basically, even if he goes all the way out here, he's going to catch him? Compared to this guy, this guy could not be further away. Spider number one could not be further away from getting a client here. But spider number two can catch them right there, because he has so many lead magnets available, and so many lead magnets available, and so much content, and their appointment set has gone crazy, and their community's gone crazy. Their newsletter's really good. They're getting referrals to their newsletter, workshops, and all this stuff. And their reach and their surface area is just so big. And when I say surface area, I mean literally they span so far. So the bigger your surface area is in 2024, the better you are going to be. Because if you think about the biggest problems that you have as an agency owner, a lot of the time it's just no one even knows who you are, or they don't even know what you offer. So that just means that you have a small surface area. You're not spanning enough. You're too small. Your actual being is too small. You're spider number one. If your surface area is too small and no one knows who you are, you're spider number one. And the problem is, if your competitor is spider number two over here, you know, I'll use someone like Hormozy as an example pretty frequently. If your competitor is spider number two over here, you're just going to get run laps around, because you might catch the occasional guy here, but this guy who's kind of just wandering through, all of a sudden he's going to get caught up in this funnel right here. And then if you go and you look at something like in the real world, where there's a bunch of caterpillars running around everywhere, you can kind of make the example of who's going to catch more over time and who's going to grow their business at a faster rate. I hope that makes sense, because there's a lot that goes into that. But what you can do is, if this is somewhat interesting to you and you think this concept is true, what you can do is, we have a bunch of free trainings in the description. It's completely free. I'm not going to try and sell you anything on this video. You can go and check out the trainings. I'm going to put them in my school group. It's a free community. It's going to be end-to-end completely. I've got about 12 hours of content about how to build this. You can go and check that out, and hopefully this resonates. Let me know in the comments. Hopefully this helps.